Hey everyone, today we're going to be covering the topic being real on the web. This is kind of part of a little mini series here that we're doing on informational marketing sites, and this is kind of a key component of the process of brand reinforcement that we talked about in our last video. So a lot of times when we're starting out the process with maybe a client that we're working with, or maybe we're vetting a vendor that we want to hire, a lot of times this question pops into your head as you're just talking to this person on the phone, as you're just looking at their site, and you go, are they for real? Are they like a real company? And what you mean by that is, how long have they been around? Are they a reputable provider? Are they established in their industry? Or is this, a startup or some fly-by-net operation that's going to be, gone 6 months from now? And it's a valid concern. It's part of the vetting process when you're going to work with anybody. So there are a few basic things that you can do on your site so that we don't really even want to answer this question in the affirmative. We don't want to have people hit your site and go, are these guys for real? And go, oh yeah, they are. Okay, this is good. We never want that question to enter their minds. If that question enters your audience's mind, you've kind of failed the first impression. We want people to hit your site and never have to question it. Never think twice about it. And the best, easiest way you can do that is photography. And I don't mean stock photography, I mean real photography. I didn't say all of these things were going to be cheap. It can cost a little bit of money for a real photographer, but it's worth every penny. Whatever you have to photograph, whether you like it or not, having that on the site, showing something that not anybody can have on their site, is a good thing and will reinforce your standing with them instantly. We've just developed almost like a sixth sense we don't have to stop to think for an instant. We know a stock photo when we see a stock photo. And sometimes people say things like, I'm not very photogenic, or do people really want to see me on the site? And the answer is just yes. The fact that you may not be photogenic is actually an asset. Stock people are so photogenic that they look fake, right? So just recognize that, especially if it's photos of you, you're going to be more self-conscious about it than anybody else looking at your site. And on the whole, people looking at your site will just be relieved to see a real person and go, oh yeah, they're for real, they're right there. That's the person I'm talking to on the phone when I call, right? So you want to get that out of the way right away. Depending on the industry that you're in, also, photos of your office can be important if you're in an office environment. Lets people know you're not working out of a Starbucks. Or if you're in more of a contracting or industrial environment, if you can show your work product, or you can show your assets, your equipment, things that not anybody can have, a gigantic bulldozer, and if you've got a picture of a gigantic bulldozer or a massive stockyard, and it's obviously not a stock photo, on a meta level, people are going, hey, that's that guy's bulldozer, that's that guy's stockyard, right? And they're not sitting around thinking, how long has this guy been in business, and where's he at? So if you have product, you want to have a mix of product photography and the kind that you would see on an e-commerce site, white background, clean cutouts, that kind of thing. That's important. You do want to have that, and if you're selling product, you have to have it. But you don't want to neglect the brand shots. Your product in a real environment. If you are selling an espresso machine, don't just have the white cutout of your espresso machine. Show someone with their nice granite countertop, and they're pulling themselves a shot of espresso and sipping it in the morning. Oh, this is so good, right? You want to have that brand shot as well, because again, it cements in people's minds that you're not running a Kickstarter, this isn't a comp, this is a real product that I could buy and I could have delicious espresso in the morning, right? Bear that in mind when you're getting your photography, even product photography. So, next up, content. this is, it may be a little bit redundant, but all this is going to have kind of a central theme, right? So content is just the places on your site in which you're showing this. It's not just about the initial impression when people hit the site, but when they go to your about page, you should have something to say. Even if you don't think it's that interesting, you would be surprised, I think, how many people will sit there and go through your whole about page and kind of skim over it and just try and get a sense of like, how long have you been around? Is there a history here? You know, they're just looking to be reassured that you're for real, right? Staff. Even if you don't think you should or need to have your staff on there, this is the staff photos are like they're freebies, right? I think these are the easiest photos to take, so just take them, put headshots up, but don't fall for, there's a minor trap here. You don't need to put all your staff on the site. At a meta level here, you can kind of play with it. If you've got enough staff that you can just show management and team leaders and stuff, then you can not show every single employee and leave to your audience's imagination how many more people you might have in your organization. And it's a little bit of a way to look bigger than you are. Again, if you've got enough people. In other cases, you may just want to show that you've got a solid team of people, and here they are, and whatever you are, kind of own that, so that when you look at it, there should feel like there's no incongruity there. Location, again, if you have an office, get some shots of your office. We've done photo shoots for people with you'd think would be the boringest offices ever, and just to have some photos that look real, you can clean your office up in a day. You really can. And you can do some very basic things that make it look cool. You can even turn the clutter to your advantage if it's cluttered and take some nice tasteful shots of how busy you are, right? We've taken shots in industrial stockyards that when you show up, you're like, wow, this is kind of grungy. But then if you get good photography of that, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, look how gritty and real this is, right? So again, whoever you are, own it. No one's going to be as self-conscious about your photos as you are. So, and again, just content is a way to continually reinforce this. Make sure you have words supplementing photographs where necessary. Finally, meta cues. There are just a lot of little things that people will look for, or at least I know I look for when I'm on a site. And think about those when you're working on your site, or if you're evaluating whether it's time to do a site project. This can really be one of those things where all of a sudden it can really click for you that, wow, we really haven't updated our site in a long time. We really don't pass this "are they real" test. It can be things as simple as the copyright date in the footer of your site being up to date. Maybe the last time you did your site really was 10 years ago, and the guy doing it, didn't know how to set up a copyright date that was going to renew year to year. And so you've got a date sitting on there that says, 2006. Yikes. If you've got a blog, how often do you post? How deep is that archive? This is something that's a cue to people that tells them things about you, and they may not even stop to think about it. Again, this can be on a subconscious level that people will pick up on this stuff. Social icons, do you have them? If I were to click through to one of those pages, would they be populated? The value of social varies depending on who you are, but if you're gonna have it, make sure there is some activity there so that it doesn't look barren, essentially. And remember, and this is where meta cues come in, some of this is about showing stuff. It's make sure you put the right things in front of people. There is kind of a reverse of that, which is also that people will not really notice what's missing, right? If you're not active on Twitter and you don't put your Twitter link on your site, people aren't going to hit your site and go, oh, well, they're not on Twitter, I don't know about this, right? If it's not there, they're not going to think about it. If you don't post on your blog regularly, or you haven't posted in like a year and it looks really out of date, you can just hide it. At an even more basic level, maybe you post semi-regularly, but you've got blog post dates visible on all of your posts. You could just hide those dates, have some posts, show that there's some content there. You don't need to tell people when they were posted. They're 2 months old or 6 months old, or kind of beyond the expiry date. Don't show people an expiry date, and they may not question it very much. So just remember, there are always things that you can tuck away that again will help assuage people's concerns when it comes to looking real on the web. Okay, That's it for today. Hope to see you guys next week.